Music in gaming is a very important thing, but what if I told you that personally I think that gaming music peaked in the 80s? You don't believe me? Well, let me introduce you to the mod file. So let's imagine it is 1985 and you want a new personal computer, you know, for homework and fucking maths and for playing games too. So you see everyone buying an IBM PC because that's like, wow, IBM and personal computer, the fucking awesome big ones. So you get one home. Sure, there was other manufacturers of PCs, but those are just clones. And then there's fucking Commodore, those old weirdos with their own platform that they call Amiga.
Famous graphics and sound of the Amiga, and here's one of our classic demos.
It's really impressive.
Is that gonna take off? Is that like good in any way? No, probably not, because otherwise why would people buy a PC if the PC wasn't the best? So, of course, you buy a PC, you turn it on, and plug in a game, and what you hear is this. Pretty disappointing. That's like, sounds worse than a fucking Nintendo Entertainment System. Then eventually you find one random friend that turns out actually does own an Amiga. Put in the same game, obviously it has to be a different version, but then you hear this. Which is obviously better. Now, why is that? So the IBM PC, it came out in 1981, and it only had what's called a PC speaker for sound, which is basically this little shitty, tinny little speaker thing connected to the CPU directly. And in order for sound to come out of that, you would need to program the CPU to actively push out and pull in the speaker itself. And you need to time that correctly so it sounds like any kind of notable music, which isn't that simple to do, especially if you want to do really fancy sounding things. Now the PC didn't really get a lot of updates. There were a few updates, but then the real upgrade would eventually come in the form of the Creative Labs Sound Blaster card in 1989. So you'd had to wait about 4 more years to even upgrade your fucking PC with a really expensive sound card, which actually, when it came out, compared to the price of an Amiga, is that really worth it? And then keep in mind you have to probably upgrade your graphics card as well, because it's shit on your normal PC because it's not made for colourful games and stuff. So why does the Amiga sound so much better? Basically, it has a special chip called Polar, which is a really cool chip that's supposed to play really cool sounds.
The base capabilities of the Amiga computer exceed the reproduction capabilities of most people's stereos. This is best demonstrated with a percussion sound, like the tom-tom. We even have a few outrageous sounds on here. My favorite is the power chord.
And it does that by using the mod files. And what a mod file is, it's basically this list of sound effects that it can play. Every song has like little samples, little small music clips of individual instruments that you can then put into the list to play one after another. And that still seems pretty hard and stupid to compared to how you make it like music nowadays, which is very simple. You don't have to type any numbers or do anything. It's just making music. But here you have to remember different like letters. So how is this actually structured? You have 4 separate audio channels, which means it can play 4 sounds at once. And these sounds can be anything you want. Talking, instruments, random sound effects. It has many limitations, but the worst one probably is that 2 channels always go to the left channel of your speakers, the other two always go to the right. You can make like swooping effects that go from the left to the right or the other way around by just being smart with it. So to better understand this, let's have a look at this track, this section of a track, because the tracks are also broken up into multiple sections. Let's look at this, or listen to it rather, and listen to each channel on its own. I hope that you're noticing that this is a very, like, special style of music. It has a specific sound to it, or at least a lot of these songs have. A lot of them are really, really long. So right now, let me just give you a few examples of songs that I think are really cool, and you should listen to them because they are awesome sounding. But they are way too long to put into this video, so compilation, go! Well, I hope you can now see why I think this is a special kind of music format that is still being used today by a very niche, nerdy group of people, and I hope you can also understand how I will oftentimes, more often than I want to, find myself just opening a tracker player or editor and just listening and watching the list scroll down and seeing all the little individual numbers and stuff and seeing how the stuff gets played. That's really nerdy and cool, and I hope you like it. If you like that, then comment down below if you think tracker music is awesome. Maybe you've discovered a new style of music through this video, then tell us down below. Leave a sub if you thought this was an interesting video, and leave a like as well, please. Thank you.
Hilariously, I don't think it's worse than like the soundtrack of like a Hugo's House of Horrors or something like that.
Yeah, that's actually not terrible.
Like there's some garbage.
There's some terrible, there's garbage parts in it,
yeah.
but yeah.